Hello, everyone. This is Michael. I'm a product manager at Deliverr, and I'm also joined by Michael, our co-founder here at Deliverr as well. I think we'll give everyone. Oh, can you, Michael? I can't see your screen, but maybe that's just because.
You can't see my screen?
I don't.
I can see you.
Oh, it might be my own bandwidth. I think that other people can probably see it. But anyways, we'll go ahead and we'll get started here in just about a minute, and we'll go from there.
If you guys have questions along the way, we'll have a quick presentation at the beginning, but just feel free to leave questions on the right-hand side. We'll try to answer as many as we can. So feel free to leave any questions that you have on the right-hand side. There should be a questions tab.
All right, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Again, just a quick reminder that you can post questions. Michael's first going to talk about like a few updates on the Deliverr side, but then you can go ahead and pose questions in the questions tab, and then we'll answer them as soon as we wrap up the updates from the Deliverr side.
Yep. So, all right, we will run through these slides. They're predominantly update slides from before. The big update is what we've been speaking about that's affected quite a few sellers. Right now we are continuing to operate as a business. We are registered as an essential sector. However, our warehouse in Reading, Pennsylvania, was closed yesterday to perform a deep cleaning. They had an employee test positive for COVID on Sunday, and we were made aware of it around 30 minutes to an hour after. And so they went through a deep cleaning yesterday, and they actually have become operational today. We had sent out email late last night basically indicating that we're not 100% sure if they're going to be fully operational today and tomorrow because they do have a few labor issues following that positive case. But they are operating. They're operating around 60% of typical capacity. So not completely normal, but they're getting there. And so in the next few days, we're expecting the ramp to kind of get back to somewhat normal. And so that's the biggest update there that is affecting sellers. And so we'll keep you guys updated. We'll post daily updates on this warehouse and on its performance. They're going to come pretty late in the day because we are checking in with the warehouse every few hours. So do look out. You might see the email come in when you wake up early in the morning talking about the latest status around this warehouse. And then in the worst case scenario, what we would do is move that inventory to another nearby location. We have multiple warehouses nearby within 100 miles of this location. So there's a lot of options. We're going to try, seeing if we can get this warehouse to ramp back up within the next 48 hours. But if it looks like we're continuing to have issues there, we'll just do a mass transfer of fast-moving SKUs to our other functional locations. So if there's any questions location, let us know. Feel free to leave questions here for the Q&A section. And then also, we can, you can also contact support if you have questions around that, or contact your account manager. For the time being, as we mentioned in the email, orders, if you have SKUs that are located in that location, but they're also located in other locations, we're routing orders to those other locations. So you're still getting orders that are coming in for SKUs that are mirrored across the network. If your SKUs are just located in that location, you're going to see those periodically start coming back online every hour or so today, as we kind of ramp things back up with that location. So the good news about, it's relatively good news about this this issue is that it was isolated to one employee, and that employee actually was not in the main area of the warehouse. They were an administrator, so they typically work in a different area of the warehouse. So we're hoping not too many of the employees were exposed. Of course, all sorts of precautions are being put in place to make sure employees are safe, and we're able to get through this. So these are the protocols that we have. These have been followed so far for this Reading situation. So here we were notified by the warehouse within 30 minutes to an hour. Warehouse closed for a deep cleaning on Monday, and now we are working on reopening the warehouse. And if it looks like we're continuing to have issues, we will redistribute. All right, so going through full network updates. On the inbound side, we are still accepting new inbounds at this time for essential and non-essential categories. However, if you are inbounding for a SKU more than 4,000 units, we are going to ask that you inbound to more than 4 locations. So it only is impacting a handful of sellers, some of the very high velocity merchants, and if you qualify, you probably already know, you've probably already been contacted your account manager, but if you're inbounding more than 4,000 units at a time, we're going to ask for you to spread out that inventory. There's 2 reasons for that. Number 1 is that it gives us more capacity on the outbound side to ship out orders when we spread out the volume across more and more warehouses. Number 2 is that it mitigates risk when you have a case like Reading, a COVID case in a warehouse, and that warehouse does have to get shut down for any reason. It gives us a lot of opportunities to spread out the order volume so that you don't go unavailable for 24 to 48 hours as that warehouse goes into deep cleaning mode. On the outbound side, we have delays with same-day shipping on standard orders. Now, these orders are still going to be shipped within 48 hours of placement time. Now, they should be delivered on time. This is predominantly happening on Monday. So if you're seeing late shipments later throughout the week, please let us know. We're trying to cut down on those. This really should be on Monday. And the reason that it's happening on Monday is that most, you have a backlog of volume that happens between Friday afternoon and Monday morning. And so it's almost like 3 days worth. And when you're operating at what the volumes that Deliverr is operating at, which are nearly like 4x what typical volumes are, that definitely adds up and puts a lot of strain on the network. And so you're going to see delays on Mondays as we try to work through that backlog of orders. Now, the warehouses are working, or around 60% of the network is operating on weekends. However, they're only prepping the inventory. So they're basically packing that inventory on weekends. There's no carrier pickups that are going on the weekends. And so all the carrier pickups are happening on Mondays. And so we have been able to alleviate some of the stress on the network on Mondays, but still not completely. The other thing we're doing is that warehouses are not receiving inventory on Mondays because it gives us more capacity to just completely allocate labor towards the outbound side of the warehouse. And so you might also see, if you have an inbound shipment and it arrives at a warehouse on a Monday, it's not going to be touched until Tuesday. And that's really just because of warehouse allocation and how we can get the most efficiency out of these locations as we approach extraordinarily high volumes. So right now, we're continuing to comply with the marketplace policies on Walmart, Wish, Amazon, and eBay. If you have any late orders that you're seeing in Walmart, let us know. We're happy to take those off the account. Also on Wish, because both those programs, we do have guaranteed seller protection. Amazon and eBay, unfortunately, we don't have guaranteed seller protection, but if you do have issues, let us know, and we'll try to adjust our system accordingly. 2-day and next day orders are not impacted, so those should still be going out on time. If you do see issues around that, let us know. Fast tag coverage. So we're maintaining our normal fast tag coverage, interestingly. So on the Walmart 2-day, eBay Fast and Free, Wish Express, Shopify 2-day, all that coverage is remaining the same. We've actually even expanded our next day coverage for Shopify. So fast tag coverage is remaining the same. Fast tag orders are continuing to go out on time. So we're still seeing, we're holding the 95% plus on-time delivery for these fast shipping programs. We're going to continue supporting them in their normal state. FBA updates. So there's been quite a bit over the past 24 hours. And first one is that they're now accepting inbounds for some non-essential categories. So take a look in your Amazon account. If you can inbound certain non-essential categories, you are now allowed to inbound into FBA, which is great news for sellers. Even though this inventory isn't going to Deliverr, we want to help out where we can and make sure sellers know what their options are. FBA Prime delivery times are now improving. So, they were a month out, and now we're starting to see it get within a week for most items. So that's certainly been improving and kind of getting back to somewhat normal. It's still got a ways to go, but it's getting there. However, still, if you have FBM listings, you can beat FBA listings on a buy box if you're matched that price and have a faster delivery time. And then again, on the meltable inventory, unfortunately, that needs to be removed, from Amazon fulfillment centers by May 1st. So, seller fulfilled Prime updates. It continues to remain the SFP waitlist. So Deliverr's SFP program remains closed to new merchants. We will revisit if Amazon reopens the program. So far, Amazon's given no indication of that. But if things change, we are happy to revisit the program. So selling strategies and category performance. So we'll go through this. What you're kind of seeing in the general theme here is an adjustment back downwards last week. And so, here, if you look at the toys category, monthly 195% up. So obviously approaching near holiday volumes for most toy sellers. Not quite, I would say, at Q4 levels, but it's getting close. But weekly down 17%. So certainly having an adjustment. And so we'll see kind of how that holds as we kind of, as we go further through this week. But you're going to see this trend with most categories. You did see a big peak last week, and things are coming back down. Now, I think there's two reasons around that. I mean, number one is you obviously have buyer behavior, so a lot of them buying these items for the first time. But second, you do have a lot of stockouts, and you have stockouts throughout the network. And we already had some questions on items going out of stock, and people getting so many alerts about items going out of stock. And that's just because you have extraordinarily high volume for toy sellers. They typically plan in advance. So like they make most of their purchasing decisions in Q3, some even late in Q2, and now all of a sudden they're approaching near holiday volumes without being able to make the necessary purchasing decisions. So you do have a lot of these sellers going out of stock. So then if we go to the next category, games and puzzles, this one's been really interesting. So this is, again, we report on super category and subcategories. This is a subcategory within the toy super category, 300% up monthly. So really being a huge piece. I think this makes intuitive sense. People are bored, they're at home, they want puzzles, they want games to play with their family. And weekly 12%. So this is actually, there's still more upward mobility here with this category. We'll follow this. We're also getting a lot more inventory coming in for puzzles, because typically this isn't a very high demand category. And so, it's something that we're certainly watching, and we'll see kind of the trend of this category as we get into this week. Food. So this is a pretty interesting category. This one is very unique because it really depends on the marketplace. Certain marketplaces have much better 1P coverage on food and grocery than others. So like, for example, Walmart is going to be much more competitive and much more difficult to rank on as a third-party seller if you're in food and grocery than Amazon. And it also varies for like eBay or Wish or other channels like that. Monthly up 30%, but weekly down 30%. So it's kind of on and off. I do think a big piece around this is how you rank in relation to that 1P inventory. If you do have strong ranking in food, you're going to see really strong improvement in sales. However, if the ranking is just not there, it's going to be a little bit harder. Beverages. So beverages are picking up. We have around 180% monthly improvement. Weekly, again, that downward shift. Another piece around this, you are seeing some stockouts in the beverage space. Health, the super category on health, this one has been the absolute juggernaut for the past 3 weeks or so. Monthly up 40%, continues to do well. Now this category, if you're looking on channels like Walmart, other areas like that, even though 40% may not look as big as like toys, right now though, in the spring, health is much bigger category relatively speaking than toys. And so a 40% improvement in health is actually a huge impact on GMV versus like when you look at a smaller like subcategory like games and puzzles, which 300% is nice, but a 40% improvement on a super category like health does mean a truly massive increase in GMV. However, weekly, you're again seeing another downward adjustment, down 26%. So that's certainly interesting. We'll see kind of where this levels off. It might bump up again this week. I do think it's going to bump up this week. A big reason here is you're seeing a ton of stockouts in health. And so that's been bringing things down, and that's really where you see the stockouts happening. Vitamins and supplements, these items, for example, we have vitamin D items going 500, 600 orders a day. And that's outside of Amazon. On Amazon, we have some of the top selling vitamins and supplements items doing 2,000, 3,000 orders a day. And simply at that volume, it's extraordinarily difficult to keep that inventory in stock. And for a lot of these sellers in vitamins and supplements, they're not used to these big spikes in demand. And so they're used to very consistent sales throughout the year. Vitamins and supplements is notorious for in Q4 pretty much having consistent sales and not having that Q4 bump, but only really having a small bump when you get into the new year. So anyway, you are seeing a lot of stockouts. Sellers are struggling to get inventory in. If you do have inventory available in vitamins and supplements, definitely you should try it out. This is the time to do it. There's extraordinary amounts of volume on these categories. Also, it's extremely easy to rank. Because there's so many stockouts, if you have an item and it's decently strong in terms of SEO and you're going to rank well, search algorithms will pick it up very fast. So we're seeing that. We're seeing the top vitamin C item go out, next item goes right back up, that item goes out, next item comes up, and we're able to cycle through 10 sellers or so very, very quickly on vitamin C, and very similar categories. That's just one example, but we're seeing it with zinc, we're seeing it with numerous other different types of vitamin items. Home. So the home super category continues to really improve well. So we saw this start moving upward around 2 weeks ago. It was a bit later to move. So initially, you saw the health super category really start improving, and now, it's really started picking up. And so 12% improvement weekly, continues to improve, 160% monthly change. This is a big category to begin with. So this is a pretty big movement. Not as big as health for us, but certainly one of the bigger categories out there. So interesting to see this improvement. And then in terms of subcategories, kitchen and dining being the big one, 12% weekly improvement, monthly 186%. So these are kitchen towels, dining room sets, blenders. These items, as people are starting to make food at their houses, they're eating all their meals at home. This makes a lot of sense that this category is seeing the improvement that it is. Arts and crafts. So this one has been moving very fast. However, you are seeing a downward adjustment. So you did see a peak last 2 weeks ago. So it's certainly coming back down, but it's not quite where it was before. So we were down 11%, but still monthly 140% up. And so here, actually, we're doing a little bit better on stock. And actually, what's unique about this category, it's doing extraordinarily well across pretty much any channel you're on. So if you're on Amazon, you're on Walmart, eBay, your own website, or Wish, this category has been doing quite well. So something we're continuing to monitor. We'll see kind of if it returns back up or if we continue this trend downward back to normal for arts and crafts. Biggest thing here is, what is the replenishment going to look like? Because you saw that bump initially as parents are buying art supplies for their kids or students are buying it for at home. And so the big question with arts and supplies is, what is that replenishment cycle going to look like? How fast is this inventory going to turn over? So clothing. So this has been interesting. So this is the super category. One thing to think about when we look at clothing, predominantly on the Deliverr end, we tend to skew towards cheaper clothing. So we tend to skew under $30 for clothing. So right now, over 34% up monthly, 22% up weekly. So had a difficult period at the beginning stages of the COVID outbreak, but it is rebounding. And so it's certainly interesting. We'll see if this continues, given that discretionary income's definitely constraining across most Americans. But something we're monitoring. We'll see kind of how that trends throughout the month. But again, important to note that we tend to skew towards cheaper clothing. When you look at premium brands we shared last time, that is quite low. And so just kind of re-emphasizing this point, make sure your products are being seen. You want to be in as many channels as possible right now. You have a ton of volume going through these product discovery channels: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Google Shopping. You want to make sure you're on as many sales channels as possible. So last week, we launched multiple direct integrations, which MG demoed last week. So you can connect any channel you want to Deliverr. We have a bunch of these now, direct integration supported. There's more coming. I know like our eBay integration is coming very soon, which will make it easier for you guys to sell on as many places as possible. This is the time to do it because you have just a ton of increased volume coming in through e-commerce and going through so many different directions. Promos for Deliverr sellers. So we're continuing our COVID promo. So if you're in a high demand category, you will qualify for free inbounds. If you've sold through that inventory already, we've actually re-updated this. So you'll see another free inbound in your account. It just says Deliverr free inbound with the date. So we're monitoring these categories, and you'll see kind of continually free inbounds coming in for these extraordinarily high volume categories. And that's it. And so with that, I think we'll open it up for Q&A. Anything else you'd like to add on the product side, MG?
Yeah, sure. So I would like to show you guys a new feature that we're in development for. So I'll quickly share my screen. And hopefully everybody can see this at this point. So the feature that we're investigating building is really a CSV upload tool. And the idea here behind the feature is that we want to make it easier for sellers, yourselves, to send inventory into Deliverr. Currently, what you have to do, right, is go through our inbounding flow where you're selecting products, you're going to validate the products, provide barcodes, information, all the boxing information, things like that. And then once you finish the flow, you are able to download labels and send us your products. So what we want to do is just investigate whether it would be helpful for us to build a CSV upload. Now, I will say that the CSV upload, when you would create an inbound, you would have two options. You would go step by step, how you do now, or you can do a CSV upload. And then at that point, you would be shown a screen where you can download a template, and then you'd follow our instructions, and then you just drag and drop the template into Deliverr to upload. Now, this is where it gets to some specifics. So like, for us, what we want to do is build what we think is the most needed tool first, and then figure out how we can iterate on that tool over time. So something just like some background information for you all to know is that 52% of sellers inbound casebacks pretty much exclusively to Deliverr. So, so you have 48% are sending, individual units, 52% are sending casebacks. So from that, we want the tool first to support sellers that are sending in casebacks. And the other thing that we want to support is that the CSV tool is a lot simpler to build if you assume that if you're sending case packs, that you're going to then package those case packs as in their own boxes. So the first restriction would be this tool wouldn't be helpful for sellers if you're wanting to send individual units and you're wanting to package individual units, different SKUs in the same box to save on contents. So those are two restrictions around the tool, which I would like you to keep in mind as I walk through it. Essentially, you'll input the SKU information. You'll say, whether you want to ship to one location or not. You'll give your address and where you're shipping from. And then you'll provide like boxing information, like how many units per box for those case packs, the lengths and dimensions, and then the weight. You will also tell us if you want to, and then at that point, we'll upload the CSV. We'll then run some validation on our side, and then you'll be deposited with a shipping plan that's been pre-populated with all the information that you put into the CSV. So the idea here, right, is that your final step that you will take is first to look and say, oh yeah, like I want to validate that the information here was correct, so that you did it correctly in your CSV, and then you would be able to accept and charge if you were shipping on our rates. If you decide to ship on your own rates, then there wouldn't be an acceptance charge. You would just go ahead and complete the shipment and download the labels. And so with that, that's the tool in a nutshell. And what I'll do is we'll go on to questions and stuff like that after or right away. But I will publish a poll here. And then in the poll, you can answer whether or not you think the tool will be helpful for you. So in the meantime, I'd love for us to turn to questions. So by the way, the poll is published, so go ahead and feel free. You can say that this tool wouldn't be helpful. It would be nice to have, important, or critical. And then if you have questions about the tool, feel free to ask them also. So We'll start at the bottom here. There was a question from Chelsea about getting repetitive emails for out of stock items. And is there a way to only receive a summary or receive this email once? And so Chelsea, the answer right now is we do send this email every single time, and there isn't a summary. With that said, I think there's two things on our side. One, if you're getting an email about the same SKU over and over again, like it's as if you get it one day and you get it on Monday, you get it again on Wednesday, you get it on Friday. That to me signifies that there's something wrong in our inventory system, because inventory is ping-ponging around, and we're sending the email every time we notice inventory is at a 1 or not at 0. And so what I would do is email our support team with that SKU if you're getting that type of email, and then they'll figure out why there's a ping-ponging issue. And then just so you guys know, in the future, right now we're investigating building a dashboard, and that dashboard we think could contain things like SKUs that have just run out of inventory and stuff like that. So we might totally decrement the email system depending on how valuable we think it will be just in a dashboard by itself. All right. The next question we got is from Glenda, and then do you have pricing for nonprofits? So MK, I'll let you take that one.
So we have the COVID promo. So if you're bringing in emergency supplies for COVID, we price at cost. It's custom pricing that actually MG is running with certain nonprofits. Outside of that, the regular pricing would apply. So if it's regular type of items, it's the standard pricing. Everyone pays that. Every single seller, any type of customer in the Deliverr network. We've only made the exception for the COVID emergency supply use case.
All right. The next email is or question is from Dawn. The first is that he's been using the service for a while. He likes our service, but that our email support response is slow is the first, and that your system does not seem to have flexibility as far as canceling orders. So I'll address the email support being slow. We know that that's a problem, and this question comes up every time Michael and I do these questions and answers with sellers, and the answer to that question is that we do know it's an issue, is first off, and how we are addressing that issue is we've recently doubled the size of our support team. we've actually restructured how our support team works. So in the past, support was its own entity where specific support reps would work across all tickets. So it would never be that if any ticket came in to a support, it could be worked by any of the support, some of our support team. Now what we've done is we've actually specialized support teams. So each team functions or works on specific types of issues for sellers. And we think that that will, work to make the ticket, the answer resolution process a lot better because people will gain a better domain knowledge. And the other thing is that we've embedded the support teams within different functions. So within, like, say, engineering, right, there's a team, the support team will function or partner more closely with engineering to solve those issues. So the high level answer, again, is that we're hiring more people for our support team. We've already done that, and then we've restructured our support team. So my hope is that across the next few months, you will see better support response times. And we also do continue to experiment with live support and chat support, but those functionalities just haven't been proven out yet. Anything you want to add to that, Michael?
No, I mean, that was great. I mean, we put in the reorg, I think yesterday morning. So we're around 20 hours into it. So we're doing a lot of system updates to get the team split up into these 3 sub teams, which we're excited about. But of course, if there are issues that continue to come up, let us know. And then, you can always escalate with your account manager. There's a ticket number, and we're happy to take a look. And I think what's really important now, what we're doing is you get a survey after you have a support case, and it asks you to put in positive, negative feedback. So please fill in that survey, even if you have negative feedback. So we're actually running through every single case now of negative feedback each day, and basically running debriefs on what are the ways we can improve, what are the areas where we messed up, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Question here, I want to pick up this one from Todd. How do I check if a product qualifies for a free inbound? So you can check right now by going into your Deliverr account. We're actually auto-tagging items and pre-populating free inbounds, and it's going to say Deliverr free inbound as the shipping plan name. If you don't see that in your account, you can reach out to us if you want to contact support, or you can reach out to your account manager. The account managers are predominantly the ones managing this, and they're basically going to look and see, okay, what does your catalog look like? What did we auto tagged? And then are there certain exceptions or additions we want to make? And so sellers have been quite helpful in that. Like, for example, initially puzzles were not included in our promo, and then we got some pretty great feedback from sellers saying, hey, puzzles are actually moving quite fast. Then we added puzzles into our free COVID inbound promo, and lo and behold, that inventory actually started turning over quite quickly. So do let us know if you think you are in a high demand category and we didn't auto tag the items. Let us know, and then also we can improve the algorithms for everybody so that we can continue to make sure we're in stock in very high demand categories. So Mike asked, can you give some feedback about the Wish marketplace? So you can actually kind of go back to the screen. So this is actually kind of this screen that I have here is this idea around a commerce graph, where for a SKU, you're basically figuring out how do buyers find out about that SKU, where do they discover, right? That's in the red. Where do they transact, which is the green, and then how do they fulfill? And so Wish predominantly tends to acquire their traffic through the Facebook audience, and they're also mobile, so they tend to hit a lot on the Facebook mobile audience. They tend to be a lower ASP, so you want to be somewhere under $20, but you can charge for shipping on Wish, unlike other areas where shipping speed and cost are tied together. On Wish, you can actually, they're more decoupled. So you can have express shipping, which all of our sellers get access to, but you can charge $3 or $4 for that. And that allows you to drop the asking price, $3 to $4. I'm also, because it's a mobile app, I'm not 100% sure on the price map. Like if you drop the Wish price below your Amazon price, if that means that you would end up rolling the buy box on Amazon. So I actually do think on Wish you can get fairly aggressive on price. And it caters towards a unique audience. It caters towards a more price-conscious audience, but certainly a lot of users. I think they probably talked about like around 10 million daily active users. So one of the most popular mobile apps out there, and has traditionally been even more popular from a mobile experience than Walmart or eBay. And so a lot of potential there. Certain selection will work. Other selection won't. So far what's working on Wish for our sellers has been toys and art supplies, have been doing well. But we do think there's more potential with the supplement side. We've just been struggling so much in terms of stock levels with supplements. We haven't been able to get too many of them listed on Wish, but we're going to start trying that. And with with our Wish program, you'll also get into certain promotions and things like that to help get you more eyeballs on your listings on Wish. So we're really excited about that program. It's a new program, it's evolving, but something you can opt into. You can just, Deliverr sellers also get 5% referral rate on Wish for the first 3 months. And you can self-serve sign up. It's pretty easy to do that. We've had a bunch do that in the past 1 to 2 days and get up and running.
There's a question on our order cancellation. So I've seen a couple sellers ask about it. So I'll just kind of hit on that. So the general complaint will be that that we don't allow order cancellations in Deliverr, or that it's difficult to cancel orders. And so I just wanted to make it clear how it works. So standard orders that come in without a specific on-time delivery promise, are cancelable within 2 hours of order placement. So again, so if we receive an order at 12 p.m. Pacific, you can cancel that order in Deliverr up to 2 p.m. Pacific. All other orders have an SLA attached to them, and those are not cancelable unless the order is placed between 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. Eastern time. Now, the reason for that is, you could wonder why during the middle of the day can't I cancel a 2-day order? And there's kind of the way that I think makes sense to think about it is that we're always trying to find Deliverr is trying to look for the lowest cost way for us to ship that order that will make that on-time delivery promise happen, right? So we want the order to be delivered on time, and we want to ship it as cheaply as possible, because if we're able to do both of those things, then we're able to charge the lowest fulfillment fee possible to you all, right? And so the trade-off on our side is that if we create an order cancellation window, it would increase the fulfillment fee cost to all sellers because we have to hold that order in our system, and we would lose opportunities to ship it. So you can just think of cases where, say the buyer lives in New York City, and the fulfillment center, we might have one right in New Jersey, right? And we could ship that order from New Jersey to the buyer in New York City, and we could use a regional carrier to do that. But if we have this order cancellation window, then maybe by the time that the order is out of the order cancellation window, that warehouse in New Jersey is no longer open, and we'd have to ship it, say, from Columbus. And there's a cost difference, right, in doing that. And then we'd have to pass that cost difference on to all sellers. And so far, we don't think that that's a trade that makes sense. So we know in some cases it's really painful, right, to have to ship an order, that you get an order that's canceled from the buyer and it ends up shipping to them. And we understand that that's painful, but we think in the long run, it's actually cheaper for all sellers if we don't have that kind of extended cancellation window. Orders with a bad address or orders that are stocked out are always cancelable also. So just to answer that question.
And then a question here around our cloth face masks on your essential product list. So they should be. I believe face mask is included in our auto tagging algorithms because we have been fulfilling quite a bit of those. So that should qualify.
There's a question from Lori. So, Michael, do we need to have listing solution to connect Deliverr to Amazon.
Yes, you still do. So the eBay integration is coming first, and then Amazon will follow. There's a lot of requirements to build the Amazon integration just for privacy reasons. They have all sorts of things. And so, yeah, so it's coming up after eBay. I'm hoping sometime in May we'll have a quick, easy build connector, but for now you still need a listing tool. However, for Walmart, for Wish, for Shopify, you do not. And then soon for eBay, you can just connect directly.
All right. So I see a question from Francis. This one's interesting. So is it possible to pay more but be able to switch from one inbound carrier for another? For example, we sometimes ship 12 shipments to Deliverr, and 11 are sent UPS, and then 1 gets sent FedEx. I would like to pay a few dollars more to ship everything one way. Now, that's really interesting, and I think that I actually feel like this is just a hole in how we think about this. So the way that I think like our product is thinking is that we are always looking for the cheapest option, right? And so one of those shipments that gets sent FedEx, I'm assuming we're picking that because we think that this fulfillment center or this location for this box weight or whatever, it's going to be cheapest for you if you ship it on UPS instead of FedEx or whatever. But the point is, it's if you factor in the cost of you personally having to go to 2 different locations to drop off the package, it might not make sense. And so I'm just actually going to take that as product feedback, and I'm going to talk to our inbounds team and figure out how we can just slot in maybe some type of like thinking there. If like, unless the savings is really high, like I would think maybe even up to like $100 or something like that. You're probably not going to want to drive to 2 different places to drop it off. Feel free to follow up on that, Francis. If you have like a feeling as to like a gut feeling as to when you would want you to like go to actually go to 2 different locations to drop off packages, like what the price break would be for you. I'd be interested to know that. But yeah, I think it's just a really interesting observation. Thanks for bringing it up.
All right, we can probably take one more question, and then, okay, I got a good one here. Okay, if you don't have a website, but you want to use Facebook as a platform to sell products and ship them through Deliverr, can this be done? It can. We do not have a direct integration with Facebook Marketplace. We are working with that team to spec it out, as well as put together a program for everyone. But that is at least a month out. Obviously, with the COVID issues, there's been roadmap changes both on our end and on Facebook's end, which has delayed that, unfortunately. But that is something that we want to come out with pretty soon. But there are listing tools that support it. So if you get started with Zentel or ChannelVisor, and there might be a handful of other listing tools that support integration with Facebook Marketplace, you can connect Deliverr to that listing tool, and then you can fulfill Facebook orders today. So we do have sellers that use Deliverr to fulfill Facebook orders right now. It's certainly, I wouldn't say common, but we've seen it, maybe across a few hundred sellers or so. And so something you can get started with if you want to. And so it should be fairly straightforward. Question from Medina. We missed your question. That's right, we did miss your question. Can Deliverr ship based on multiple platforms for the same products? So that is actually the feature that we pushed out last Wednesday or Thursday. You can now connect Deliverr to multiple platforms. So you can connect us to both ChannelVisor and Sellbrite, or Seller Active and Sellbrite. There's a tab in your account. It used to say Fast Tags. It now says Channels. And in Channels, you can add as many channels as you like. So Deliverr supports, I think, 9 to 10 total integrations. You can connect all 10 if your heart desires. And so there's a lot of options there. So we're trying to add more direct integrations to like eBay, Amazon, Facebook Marketplace, as that came up already, to make it even easier. But yes, you can sell on multiple platforms and connect everything to Deliverr that way. The other way you can do it is you connect us to a listing tool, and that listing tool connects to the different sales channels. Alrighty. I think we got through most of them. MG, did we miss anything?
I don't see. I see, Dawn, that you had messaged me about something that was stuck in receiving. I'm going to take a look at that, and then I will ping you. I'll make sure that our support team follows up with you directly on that.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining. We'll try to keep these on a regular cadence. You know, we appreciate you guys continuing to trust us with your business. Obviously, you know, apologies as things have been a little bit, you know, we are going to see some late shipments. We're going to see stock outs. It's going to be a bit tricky. We're going to see warehouse closures, and we just appreciate you guys bearing with us as we work through this time and continue to work together. So, you know, let us know if there's more feedback or anything that we can help with. We're always trying to improve the service. As MG mentioned, we completely restructured our support team yesterday, and so a lot of improvements we're working towards. But yeah, thanks again, and we'll see you in a week or so.
All right, bye now.